Hi everybody, thank you so much for joining me on this Back to Basics series, where I'm going to focus on some very basic fundamental principles of Pilates and of movement to help you and your people in class and of course outside class as well. So the first thing that we're starting with today for the video is breathing. So I want you to lay down onto your back or have your people lay down onto their back if you are teaching this in a class. And find your hands on your ribs. And then just keep breathing. I'm going to talk a little bit and I want you to just feel your ribs, find your breath, just lie there focusing on that. So if you've done any of my classes or spent any time on my videos and whatnot, you'll probably have seen that I regularly start with breathing and then I focus in on the ribs. The reason is because the diaphragm lives underneath the ribs and the diaphragm is part of the core. So the ribs are really good feedback of the working of the diaphragm to know that we can start to get some core engagement, which of course is the fundamental centering principle of Pilates. So with your hands on your ribs now, I want you to feel that your ribs can expand into your hands towards the ceiling and out to the sides and even underneath of you into the mat from your back. Now initially, if you're not used to this diaphragmatic breathing, this might be a little bit difficult. And you may notice in your people as well that a lot of people breathe by doing it into their stomach or a lot of elevation here into their shoulders. So I'm going to sit up as well and show you. You can do it from lying down. You can do it from seated. So seated, it's the same idea. Inhale, ribs expand. You can see here my fingertips, the space between them got bigger. Exhale, ribs come back together. The space between my fingertips comes back together. Inhale, space expand. Exhale, bring them back together. Now this is the filling and emptying of the diaphragm and the movement of the ribs. Now this is also critical when we think about abdominal work because between these your two ribs here is the linea alba, that middle part of your rectus abdominis. And that is important when we think about doing curl-ups or crunches. We want the ribs to come together in the middle because then we can have the abdominals actually working to curl up and do the work, as opposed to you might hear people regularly getting it into their neck. So breathing is the fundamental base layer thing. Get yourself and get your people breathing by rib expansion and contraction. That means the diaphragm is filling and emptying. And then from there, move on to taking that connection with breath to the work with the core, whereby on the exhale you can find the core engagement. And that's going to be happening in the videos following, where I'll talk about pelvic mobility and alignment as well as core engagement. Thanks so much for joining me and hope to see you soon.